You are going to create a community inside of the serving industry at the restaurant that you work at. It's going to help you to gain clientele. Everybody knows somebody that needs photos. Mm-hmm. And when you're at the beginning of your business, any opportunity is the right opportunity to get somebody in front of your camera.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Alex.
And you're
in the editing castle. So guys, it looks a little bit different than last time, and we are so excited to bring a higher quality of content. We're so glad you're here.
I had the opportunity to learn a lot about cords and attachments and links. It feels so cool to have figured out exactly what we needed to do to get what we wanted.
Today's episode in the Editing Castle, we're talking all about advice that we wish we would have heard from somebody sooner in our careers.
Alex and I got into photography at a time in our lives where the closest photography mentors to us wanted to see us fail. It felt like they weren't excited about us growing or becoming successful, and that experience inspired Alex and I to always be the mentors that we never had. This topic is so special to us because it's the advice that we wish our mentors could have given us at that time.
It's beautifully said. I'm just about to jump in because I'm so excited to communicate with you guys again. I'm so happy.
So tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks, guys. What are you working on today in your editing castle? Are you finishing up the last of 2024 weddings? Are you working on a mini session, maybe from Valentine's Day, finishing that up? Happy March 2, guys. Something that we've been doing this year is we've been looking at each month as a chapter. So happy beginning of chapter 3. I hope you really love everything that you accomplished in chapters 1 and 2, and you're ready to kick off chapter 3.
What are you editing in your castle today, Alex?
Today in my castle, it's all about our Nikon shoot. It's literally getting down to the final edits and send it off for review. What about you, Britt? What are you editing in your castle today?
So far, my quality work time has been dedicated to processing old data.
Ooh.
This is a labor of love, something that we've always wanted to do. This year, chapters 1 and 2, I've been focused on organization. I am a messy, magical human being. A man-gen.
Sad.
And one thing that's really important moving forward is that we have a more streamlined process for processing all of this data. Of course, we have Chasing Sunsets content. That's our client work, our brand shoots, things like that. But we also brought in Editing Castle into our lives. Mm-hmm. And I want to be organized with the data so that way we don't get overwhelmed and we can continue to produce quality content for our community. It's just so fun to go back in my treasure chest and see what's there, but also to make peace with saying goodbye to some things and making space for the new content that we're excited to create.
Which is a perfect segue to today's episode. I know that during your deep dive data migration, you've shared multiple times, like, I do really mourn the loss of this session because the camera equipment that we were using, we're not going to post that. We're not going to use that anymore. There's no reason to keep it any longer. The first piece of advice, tips that we have for you guys is invest in a quality camera. What does that really mean, Brittany?
Invest in a camera that you feel you can't afford yet. And although this is scary advice, and I'm not a financial advisor, so,
by any means,
there's just that little caveat. But when it comes to camera equipment, I have a very bold opinion. I think the camera is either helping you to succeed or it's holding you back. So you're either going to grow into the capabilities of a really good camera, or you're going to have the really poor qualities and capabilities of a bad camera hold you back.
And you're going to outgrow that right away.
You're going to outgrow it. And you're going to upgrade eventually. Ask yourself, if you have one of those like starter cameras right now, is that the camera you're going to be reaching for in 2 years, 3 years? If it's not, I highly recommend you reach for the camera that you will have in your hand in the future years. The faster you can upgrade and grab a good piece of quality equipment, the faster your art starts to evolve to a higher quality as well. There are a lot of people whose like blood pressure just spiked and they're about to fight me in the comments, and that's fine. They feel that any camera is better than no camera, and I agree. And they feel like it doesn't matter the camera, it's the artist. For sure. As a girly who wishes I could go back and tell former Brittany and Alex who invested in a better camera, but it wasn't the right better camera. We had to then upgrade again and upgrade again. That was a lot of money, and it was a lot of trial and error. If we could have skipped a few of those in between cameras and just invested in a really good camera, I feel like we would have had better quality all along, and then we would have squashed that learning curve a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's so well said. There is so much abundance out there for you. Step into a full frame mirrorless camera. You're ready for it. You're going to learn everything you need to with this camera, and it's going to propel your business forward. But it's going to cost you, and we're here to talk about that.
Alex came up with a really cool idea for this roadmap that is for the aspiring photographer. This is for our friends who are just getting started and they need more information about what to do, when to do it, etc. This is just an idea. We're just brainstorming here. The first step you could take that will have a tremendous impact on everything in your business is getting a job as a high volume restaurant server.
Yes.
This is our recommendation because it was our experience. Our first job as like a power couple together was at a high volume restaurant. You need to have some kind of restaurant environment where you get the dinner rush experience.
Yep.
Because when you are working as a server, this job will teach you so much that applies to business
100%.
and applies to photography and content. The biggest ones that we took away from the experience, you have to learn how to be the front face of a company. You have to learn how to turn a table. If maybe they're not in a good mood, you have to lift their mood in order to get a good tip at the end of it all. Time management, you have to learn communication skills. This will also teach you how to work really well with your coworkers, the other servers who are present, the other dynamics that are present in a restaurant environment, your hostesses, your managers, the cooks. There are different elements of adversity that happen in that role, and you have to learn how to overcome them. Maybe something went wrong in the kitchen. Maybe something you entered into the system was wrong. You can make mistakes too. And the experience of being a server from the soft skills standpoint is just tremendous. You have so many quick interactions with people where you get to practice those pretty words. When it comes to photography, especially weddings, people love to people watch. So people will be watching you do what you do. This is something that we learned in the serving career. As you're serving your tables and then you have to go to a different table, your tables are watching you. They're observing you as you buzz around the restaurant. So very quickly we realized the person in the room with the biggest smile usually gets paid the most. Now, I think Alex loved this as a career path because of the financial element.
High volume environment really gives you an opportunity to hone in on your skills on any given night. I don't know the exact numbers, but I would feel like we would get 30 tables a night. That could be 2 tops, that could be 4 tops, that could be big groups of tables where you might have to share the money with another server or something too. There's a lot of opportunity for you to stand out, for you to provide a quality experience to the people that are out to have an experience. That's the whole thing. That's the really important parallel between serving and serving your photography clients. They are out to have a good experience too. How many times, Brittany, have we talked with our couples and they share, hey, yeah, we are going to make a date night out of this. We're going to go out. They're probably wearing attire that they don't normally get to wear. Maybe they did their makeup a little bit differently and their hair. They really are styled up and they're going to make a night of it. So in the same way that you're providing a quality experience to a table, you're doing that in photography, which is why you're going to make money to pay for your camera through this career as a server. It might be an extra part-time job that you're picking up along with your regular job. It depends where you are on your entrepreneurial journey. If you've already started your business and you're taking some clients on the side, maybe see if you can pick up 1 or 2 days a month or something like that to fit into your schedule. You are going to create a community inside of the serving industry at the restaurant that you work at that's going to help you to gain clientele. Everybody knows somebody that needs photos. And when you're at the beginning of your business, any opportunity is the right opportunity to get somebody in front of your camera, to get some of the practice. You get to learn from each different event that you have or session that you do. You never know who you're talking to and what opportunity that might lead to. So you have to take on every experience with the same positive attitude. And that's what happened with serving. You never knew who was going to pay. You never knew what type of mood they were in. You never knew if they were feeling extra generous because it wasn't a really big moment in their life that they were celebrating. And you took the time to make them feel important about choosing to come to you. Cannot stress this enough. It's so important to create a great experience.
I really like the way that Alex explained the connections and the networking opportunities available in a restaurant environment. There are bartenders, bar back, servers, managers, etc. Everybody knows somebody who could need photos. So it's really beautiful for you to operate with this in mind. Be very kind, be very friendly to your coworkers. They are going to help you to establish your portfolio. The best advice I could give is ask people to model for you that are in alignment with the kind of work you want to get paid for. If you want to embark on family sessions, ask if anybody has the need for updated family photos. If you really want to get into couples and weddings and you know that's your future, focus on couples and just go into that direction. It's really helpful when you set up your model calls with a professional agreement. The next piece of this is a CRM or some kind of client relationship manager that you're going to invest in so you can be sending and receiving contracts.
There are so many options for this, and all of them are going to up-level your business and make it feel significantly more professional on the client-facing side. This is going to go a lot towards the experience that you create for them. I mean,
what we started with was a penny tablet.
Yes.
No, I take that back. We started with paper copies.
That's true.
We created a Google Word doc and we printed it out and we would have people sign this. We then went paperless and we got very excited about a penny tablet where we would bring up that Google document and we would try to walk people through signing it with or without service. So it was always such a drama.
The service part.
Yeah. Can you imagine having a great session with somebody and you're ready to just like tap them on the back, see you later, but you're like, wait, one more thing.
Hold on.
There's
it's
no
loading.
service. This is my penny tablet. Please, could you sign it?
Eventually, we found out about a CRM and we went with HoneyBook first, and we still use HoneyBook today. So it's definitely a good option. They have raised their prices, but there really is a lot of services and like bells and whistles.
We recommend HoneyBook because there is so much value for a beginner photographer if they can find the financial value to be worthwhile.
That's
so
true.
You're going to be not only pitching yourself to people for model calls, but you're going to be scheduling shoots. You're always going to be scheduling.
Yeah.
And one really awesome part of HoneyBook is it integrates with your Google Calendar.
Yes.
This is valuable because when you go to create a project or your client goes to create a project, it immediately syncs some kind of an event to your calendar so you can't double book yourself.
Nice.
That's huge.
Yeah.
From there, there's also a scheduler link. If you are familiar with the service Calendly or things like that, where you could send a scheduler link to people, it would pull up this really nice user face where it shows the availability, the little time slots. Someone could pick their time, create the confirmation, all of that. HoneyBook basically took the service of what Calendly does and put it inside of HoneyBook. Now, for our mentorship calls and for our sessions, we can build out a calendar that shows when we're available for sessions, when we're available for mentorship, when we're available for those wedding consultation calls. And instead of that clunky back and forth we often had at the beginning of our business, when are you available? Does this time work? Does that time work? Send back times that might work. We just send a link and it's so much more streamlined. It does come off as more professional. This is my availability. What works for you? Bada bing, bada boom. They already have a calendar invite.
You're totally right about HoneyBooking.
Let's just geek out about HoneyBook for a second.
Another really important resource that HoneyBook shares is they allow you to input templates into your workflow, which is going to save you so much time. We would come across a new opportunity and we would have to write up an entirely new agreement or questionnaire for, questionnaires in HoneyBook too. You're right. HoneyBook is so good.
Let's just talk about HoneyBook for a second. This isn't an ad. This is what we wish we could have given to ourselves. Our history was we had those Google Docs saved on Google Drive and then we would try to find them. And then if the client needed that document again, we would have to go find it, email
for
it.
Print release, you're right.
Exactly. What we love about HoneyBook is it feels like it's this command center. And as a business owner, it helps you to organize your calendar, your invoices, which are huge, and it helps you to streamline and automate some of your messaging. And it helps you to create more of a positive client experience through their questionnaires. Let's talk about questionnaires for a second. The questionnaires can be used on the internal side, different questionnaires for Alex and I that we can have uploaded and in front of us while we're having our initial meeting with our wedding couples. It lists out all of the different questions that we would love to ask and space for us to write down the answers. I find this to be so valuable because you do interact with a lot of couples and you want to be able to keep their details straight. That way, when we're going into their engagement session or their wedding day, we can be reading getting those answers from way back when refresh our minds on their love story, on the details that matter. I love having questionnaires on the internal side. The external side is so cool for client experience. The two that are the most valuable to us, we have one that's a timeline wedding planning questionnaire.
Yep.
I created it to be kind of like a builder. That way, if I was a bride or groom and I'm receiving this timeline builder, I have a few suggested timelines, a few details about when the sunset is. It's all like a plug and play template that they get to create their dream day timeline. It triggers something to me saying they've submitted their timeline, and then I can come in, offer suggestions, and then help with planning from there. The other most valuable one is the wedding details one. Right before the wedding, let's say about a month before, it's really important that we capture what the family shot list is going to look like. Who are your most important people? I want to know their names. They get to talk about photo inspo. They get to drop the Pinterest link if that's important. There's so many fun things in there that kind of help them to brain dump and allow us to take all of that information off of their minds.
Another really important integral part of that quiz and questionnaire is the vendor tags and knowing where you can find all of those important people that help to make the day as great as it is when you go about posting things on social media later. Remember earlier we were talking about building out our network and our community, and this is another great way to do that. You always want to share whoever was involved, whether it was a styled shoot, whether it was a wedding, anything that can help to get your work in front of more people is going to help you early on and for the rest of your career.
And the vendors are going to appreciate it. And what can happen is they will feel so taken care of that you would go out of your way to tag them, that you could become their preferred vendor for photography or videography. It's a beautiful thing to incorporate word of mouth referrals. The last questionnaire I want to mention for Honeybook before we can move along, because I really am such a big fan, but I know that everybody's financial situation is different. They did raise their prices. They do take 3%, which feels brutal. It's all of that. But I do feel like it's such a symbiotic relationship for Alex and I in the way that we run our business. The last questionnaire I love is the engagement planning quiz. This is something fun that we get to send to our couples before the big engagement session date. This allows them to know their favorite kinds of music that I should put in their playlist. I ask about love languages because I think that's really helpful for me as I'm guiding them through prompts and poses. I ask them about if they're introverted, extroverted, do they feel comfortable with PDA? And then of course I love to ask if there are any specific shots that they're dreaming of. Any information going into your session is helpful because it allows you to let their input creatively guide you. It's not something that's holding you back. It's helping you to allow them to guide you. But what's really cool is then they feel like you've taken your service to another level. You cared enough to ask all of these quality questions, and then their session feels curated to them.
Yeah, those are really good options too. So great. You've got this agreement, you've sent it out. Somebody is now going to decide, hey, how can I pay you? You want to eliminate as much resistance between someone being able to invest in what you've shared your value to be and actually investing in you. Like literally, where do I swipe the card? Like, how do I pay you? Yes, cash is a great option, but it's often pretty inconvenient depending on who your client is. It's 2025. Most people just want to pay with their card or their phone. So make it easy for them to do that. And Honeybook does just that. There's options for bank transfers if you want to do, I think that actually avoids fees, right? Yeah, bank transfers do avoid fees. So if somebody is really keen on that, that's a great option. But otherwise, people can use their credit card, which is super convenient and helpful because before that, you might have to do checks or all kinds of different payment options that Venmo. And now you've separated all of your income streams, which when taxes come around, it's going to be a lot harder for you to keep that organized, which is the last point. Honeybook has amazing reporting, Brittany.
I love the reporting, especially around like bookkeeping time. In the beginning of our business, we were not very organized with writing out our expenses and our income throughout the year. We would do it once at the end of the year, which is fine. You can still get the job done, but imagine if you just once per chapter write down your income and your expenses and you keep track of your numbers throughout the year. It will allow you to make much quicker informed decisions about what you should be investing in. If you have extra money, if you have less money at that time in the year, it helps you to game plan a little bit more for something that is still way up in the air. You're never never guaranteed or entitled any amount of bookings in a year.
Nope.
So being more abreast of the information that is your numbers, you need to know your numbers. We call it the state of the union.
Yep.
That's really helpful. Now, when it comes to what you said, Alex, you want to remove as much resistance between their interest and their invoice. I think it's important to talk a little bit about how people can pay you, and what you can do whatever you feel most comfortable with. But in the beginning of our business, the advice I wish I had was never allow somebody to have a full session if they haven't paid you yet.
Yes, huge.
Get paid on the front end. That is not weird. It is normal practice for you to pay for a service before you receive the service.
Can I take my groceries home before I pay for them?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm good for it.
You need to be charging sales tax. You might not have your LLC set up yet. Let's talk about that for a moment. If you are making any amount of money from photography, you need to set up an LLC. This isn't like if I'm not making 5,000 or 10,000 yet, any amount of money that you're making, you're going to want to set up an LLC.
There's so many tax benefits from setting up an LLC.
So many benefits. There's only scary things that will happen if you don't.
You got to do it. Just do it.
So set up your LLC. There are a lot of places online that you can do this. We set up ours with InkFile, which is now Bizee.
Yep.
Bizee. They help you with some of the paperwork. There are other entities online that can help you set up an LLC. Just search for your state-specific LLC.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to also search for your state-specific sales certificate. This can be named a few different things. It's basically the certificate of registration that your business is doing business in your state, and that you will be collecting sales tax from these clients and relaying that back to your state when the product is delivered. So it's really important that, number one, you have your LLC, you're established as a business, but then number two, you have your sales tax certificate in place. So when you do have a $150 session, you are able to charge your 5.5% sales tax and have the client pay for all of that. And then you are going to relay or remit that sales tax back to your state once they get the actual product. Even if you're just delivering these photos digitally, it is not a digital product. It is something that does have sales tax in most states associated with it.
It's a really good point. We have had some of you reach out to us and ask, how do I get out of this mess? They had received bad tax advice, which is honestly a nightmare of mine. So we jumped and we helped as best we could. And now that photographer had to go back for years and figure out all of the sales tax that they still owed. Luckily, they were doing it the right way, and they talked with the state, and the state is willing to work with them under the pretenses that they did receive terrible CPA advice. So you can clean it up, and they are already well on their way to cleaning it up, but it's just something that if you do it the right way the first time, you don't have to clean up.
Exactly. Your business can run however you want it to run. I think it is important to get paid before you go to the session. It establishes a really respectful power dynamic between you and the customer.
Yeah.
If you do not get paid beforehand, you now are faced with that really sticky situation of, I'm going to hold the photos until you pay me completely. And you do not want that situation going into something like a big wedding day.
Yeah.
An industry standard could be that they pay half now, half a week before the session, or a half a month before the wedding or session. That works. What we've also offered to clients, if they want to, if they've got the money and they want to take advantage of a discount, we offer an incentive of a pay in full discount. That's just something that's worked really well for our business. When it comes to our wedding couples, there's a much bigger amount of money to play with. So it allows Alex and I to make more money moves in our business because we have more capital throughout the year. It also will give the couples this incentive so you don't have to be thinking about as many deposits coming and going throughout the year.
I think it also takes a lot of pressure off of them because for them, it's something that they have to remember. It's on a checklist. So when they can, in this particular case, take care of two vendors, photography and videography, in one swoop, so to speak, they're really happy about that. And then they don't have to remember, oh yeah, I have to finish my balance with them 30 days beforehand. Everybody loves a little discount. So it's pretty exciting to share that we do offer that with them.
I love making things as easy as possible for the clients. It helps to create a beautiful client experience.
Beautiful thing.
So far, we've talked about how people will pay you. We've talked about contracts. We've talked about pitching your services for model calls. You do still want to have an agreement, even for model calls.
Yep, definitely.
And in this journey of this roadmap, you're serving, you're saving, you're ready to buy your good camera. Alex alluded to earlier that a mirrorless is our recommendation.
Yes.
I want to touch on the importance of data and double writing data in the camera body you choose. If you are going to be receiving money for either a session or weddings, it is a non-negotiable minimum that your camera double writes the data.
Absolutely.
Why? Because if someone is paying you for a once-in-a-lifetime moment, you need to be able to deliver the content you've been trusted with creating. When it comes to memory cards, they are just a piece of equipment. They can fail, and they do. They can be manufactured improperly. They can be stored improperly. They could have gone and fallen off of a desk. You didn't know something went haywire inside of it. You put it in your camera, you go to create, something can corrupt. And if it can corrupt, I need you to be safe and not sorry. And I need you to have a double writing camera. So if one card corrupts, you have the other backup. It is non-negotiable, in my opinion, if you're a professional.
It is non-negotiable if you're a professional. You need to double write.
If you're just getting started and you want to know what camera we recommend, I love to recommend the nicest mirrorless you can afford. If you are shooting Canon, I love to recommend the Canon R6. A lot of people are trying to upgrade to their Canon R6 Mark II, which is a little bit better. You can definitely get an R6 on the market, either used or new, for a really fair price. The body will come separate from the lenses. Alex and I will definitely do a video very soon explaining more about our thoughts on camera bodies and lenses, but I wanted to give you a quick recommendation to get you started. I love recommending a 24-70 2.8 with a mirrorless body. It could be the R6, it could be the Nikon Z6 III, it could be the Sony A7 IV. Go for a double writing mirrorless camera.
If you're a brand new photographer and you do want to take your photography to the next level, sell all of the Rebel equipment you own. Sell it immediately. Sell it. It's fine. Just sell it. Put that all towards the lens recommendation, the camera recommendation that we're going to share with you. I would recommend an R6 Mark II if you're going to go down the new route. If you want to save a little money, go for the R6 Mark I and find a used version on Facebook Marketplace. Try and get something with a shutter around 100,000 if that's the best that you can find. You can find some deals out there, especially if you keep saving your money and you wait for the right deal. Some people really take great care of their equipment, and when it's time to upgrade, they have everything. They have the box, they have the manual, they have all of the wires that come with it, they have the chargers, they have everything. Find that. You can do it, I promise. If the 24-70 is too much for you right away, I would love to recommend a 51.8, an RF 51.8.
The nifty 50.
The nifty 50. The combination between the mirrorless body and the 51.8 is going to literally do wonders for you in low light, which that's what you're learning about. You're learning when low light is gone light or when there's still time to create. This was part of our business that we didn't understand for a long time. And because of the combination of not as good camera gear, not as good lens choice, as well as not understanding when the session was over and the light was gone. That is not a combination you want to be messing with. Just take our word for it. You want a 51.8 for when it's low light, when you're a beginner.
Absolutely. So now you have your camera and your lens and you're going to the session to create. We love to recommend that you focus more on how you make people feel versus the Pinterest poses that you want to recreate. Of course, you're going to feel nervous. You're creating art with other people. So you have to pitch them ideas and they need to receive them and then act them out. There is this beautiful dynamic where if you can build trust that no matter what happens, you guys, we're just here to have a good time. We're going to have some fun. I have some ideas. You probably have some too. Whatever you naturally do is the right answer. You cannot do this wrong. If you have that kind of approach to your sessions, they're going to be so much more fun and people are going to have a great experience and you're going to get word of mouth referrals. Now you're back in your editing castle and it's time to start working on the pictures. You need to back up your data in at least 2 different locations. Some people give the advice to leave the data on the memory card until it's delivered. We do not give that advice. That is an option, but I love to actually say it's important to have 2 different SSDs that you can put your 2 different copies of the session's data on. That way one of them's a working copy and one of them's a emergency copy. The working copy is the one that you're going to go and cull, which means you're sorting through the pictures, picking the ones you actually want to edit, and those are the ones that you put through Lightroom, which is where you edit, and then export and upload to a gallery delivery site to get the pictures back to the people who invested in them. Let's talk a little bit about gallery hosting site or dropping a zip file through email.
When we would deliver our galleries to our clients, we would send them a link through Google, and it would have them download and store their files in a very weird and disorganized manner. This is something that we eventually learned was not the standard. The right way to do it is the professional way to do it, and that is to pay for a gallery hosting site and delivery platform. There's many options out there, and they're all better than Google Drive.
There's PicTime, Pass Gallery, Unscripted,
Pixieset.
No matter what you choose, anything is better than that zip file. So make sure you're presenting your photos in a beautiful professional way. It will help to lead to more business because people will love that experience. When sharing your galleries through a gallery hosting and sharing site, it is so much easier for your clients to be able to quickly download and share online so you can avoid the dreaded screenshot. If people are screenshotting your pictures from Google Drive because it was too chaotic to download easily, you're going to have a pixelated version of your photo, probably with bars at the top and bottom in the file name somewhere, circulating on social media. And that's going to be bad for business. It's bad marketing. I love that all of the gallery hosting sites we've worked with, there are tutorials included to guide people through this very user-friendly interface so they can download and share very easily. If you do invest in HoneyBook, PicTime is one of the gallery hosting sites that is integrated with it. So there are certain beautiful integrations happening between these bigger apps that are in this industry that can help to make your process more streamlined. When you create a project in HoneyBook, it will create a gallery space for you in PicTime. And
the last part of this workflow that we've shared with you, or the step-by-step process of what you really need in order to get your business going and off the ground, you need a form or at least some type of template that you can load in that shares with your couple how grateful you are to have had the opportunity to create with them. And it also provides a link to leave a review. At the beginning of your business, reviews are going to be what you can come to market and advertise with, because that's what somebody's experience was with you. The importance of this should be stressed greatly. You need to close the feedback loop with your couples and get that review.
What you're describing, Alex, is amazing because it's not only getting the feedback for your business and your service, but it will help to encourage people to recommend you to people.
Yes.
And to generate this organic word of mouth growth strategy when you get done with the session. Instead of just waiting for the email template that Alex is describing, I encourage you to add that into your goodbye spiel. If you had a great time today, I'd love for you to leave me a review. Just simply asking people, they will help you. They would love to see you succeed, so they will fill out that review. If you feel really comfortable with clients texting you or DMing you, you can send them a message right after the session. Hey, I had such a great time today. Thank you guys so much for letting me create with you. They will probably write back something beautiful as well. That will then be a really cool screenshot for you to use as a testimonial of how you made people feel. If people write back to your galleries with big, beautiful text messages like that, save those little love notes. They're so valuable for marketing. Not only can you share those screenshots to show how you made people feel, but you can also add these into your website. You can add these into some of your highlights on Instagram. This is an amazing roadmap of a bunch of different things that you need to consider. But my main takeaway for you is you're not going to grow if you're not willing to do the hard work. The hard work that is shooting, editing, delivering, repeat. You need to get those reps in of doing the work, of actually creating. You're going to have some of those beginning session moments where you're just grinding as much as you can. But the reason why that grind chapter is so important is because it's building the foundation of your business. You're going to have everybody you work with through that contract tag you in the work when they post it online, and you are going to start posting your work online. Look at social media as an opportunity for connection with your future customers and a way to stay connected to your present clients.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful free tool that allows us to share our work with our community. I do believe that to be a successful photographer and content creator in 2025 and beyond, you must have a positive and abundant social media presence. It is a lot easier for somebody to invest in you as an artist, a content creator, if they can look at your content on your social media and visualize what it will be like to be at your photo shoot. BTS is so important. You should definitely be creating behind the scenes footage at every session, every wedding, and have really cool things that you can share about what you're doing and what you're building on social media. Bring people along for the journey, and don't be scared to show your messiness at the beginning. The mess is where the magic is. So allow people to come along for your journey and to grow with you.
I really like that. The mess is where the magic is. We have shared what our roadmap looks like with you, and we hope that this provided some value and answered some of the questions that you may have about what you should be doing at the beginning of your business. Just a quick recap, go pick up that serving job. If you're not slinging burgers on the side, your community is not growing.
Definitely invest in a camera that you cannot afford, but you will grow into.
It's mirrorless, just so you know.
We didn't touch on it, but you do need a decent computer. That's all I'll say.
You need a computer that can handle the bit rate, all the data, the footprint, 100%.
When you're at a session, focus on how you make people feel, not necessarily how cool the art is going to look.
Capture the BTS of all of the moments throughout the entire journey so that you have the receipts.
On the business end of things, you need an LLC. You need to be doing your sales tax properly. And as you invest in different platforms, pick the ones that are going to help you to present yourself as a professional.
That means you need a CRM, a client relationship manager, that's going to help you with your templates, your contracts, your payments, all of those things. And you also need a gallery sharing platform.
And finally, when you do go to share about your business on social media, do it in a positive way that brings your audience along for the journey. Be positive online, because positivity will lead to so many more opportunities than negativity ever will.
Well said, Brittany. If you loved today's episode, please share it to your story on Instagram so that we can see that we were with you while you were in your editing castle.
Yes, please tag Editing Castle Podcast. We would love to be able to see your guys' stories.
And if this episode was impactful for you in any way, please leave a review and a rating. It means so much to us to know how our episode made you feel.
We love creating content for you guys. So if you have requests or any questions, please send us an email at editingcastlepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for stopping by.
You're always welcome back
And we'll see you next time
in the Editing Castle.